Hello, I'm Allie Duzette, and I'm a professional intuitive. I've been working on a series of free gift energy work for people that are stuck at home during this quarantine season. And tonight, it's almost 11:30 o'clock. See, I'm so tired. It's 11:30, okay, p.m. on Sunday night, but I was about to go to bed, and I couldn't go to bed because I thought I have to make a video right now. So here we are, and hopefully me being very tired doesn't impact the work. Okay, I was going to go to bed, and I had the distinct feeling that what I needed to do was a session on clearing the unforgiveness held onto by our ancestors. So I've talked about this before in an earlier video about how our angels are our ancestors, and when our ancestors die, when anyone dies, they don't just automatically not have trauma anymore. You know, they still have the memories of their life and the traumas of their life and the unresolved issues of their life. And that's a whole lot of stuff to be carrying around forever. Now, in my book, Deep Past Resolution, which is available on Amazon, I talk about how bodies are very necessary to actually physically metabolize emotions. And when you die, you don't have your body to use as a tool for the metabolism of emotional trauma. And so that's why it's really important for us as the living to be doing this ancestral healing work for our predecessors, because we are the ones with bodies that are capable of basically transmuting that energy, right? All emotions are energy, and we use our bodies to transmute that energy into like heat and movement. And we literally breathe out, like your exhalation can be exhaling out these energies from our ancestors. We excrete the broken down chemicals of emotions using our body's excretionary pathways. That's why it's important to drink a lot of water when you do emotional work. You're actually literally flushing out the garbage in your own body, okay, on a molecular level, on a chemical level. So that brings us to right here, right now, tonight. And our ancestors that are carrying around a bunch of unforgiveness. Now, when you read in the scriptures, I'm specifically thinking about the Doctrine and Covenants. There are verses about, the Lord will forgive who he chooses to forgive, but we are required to forgive all men. But you may have noticed that sometimes it can be very difficult to forgive people, and a lot of people don't even know how to forgive. Now, I recorded another video on forgiveness on my channel, and here's the recap, the 10-second recap of it, is that unforgiveness looks like little black tornadoes, okay? Squiggle, squiggle, squiggling. Here, my son has a piece of paper here. He drew a robot on it, but I'm going to show you a picture of what unforgiveness looks like. It looks like this, okay? Just that little squiggle down there. And those tornadoes are, that's what unforgiveness looks like. And so the process of forgiveness actually eradicates that turbulence in our own energy field. Okay, you can view unforgiveness as really just a turbulence. And it's a specific turbulence associated with an event or a person or concept that we feel, upset about, and we need to forgive. Forgiveness is just a deletion and a removal of those turbulent energy systems within our own larger energy system. For the deceased, so we have our bodies to help us transmute that energy from one state into another. We take it from the energetic sphere and transmute it into a physical manifestation through the breath, through our other bodily processes. But the deceased cannot actually do that. Obviously, they don't have a body. So how do they do it? They have to do it through us, through the living, through their descendants, and or if they don't have descendants or living family members, some people's family lines have completely died out, then they just have to hope that somebody living does some work for them. So I will I'll tell you this. I feel like I should tell you this, but right now I'm reading The Gulag Archipelago by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. And it's about the Russian gulags, which are just absolutely horrific. And as I'm reading the book, sometimes I'll see a name in the book, and I'll just feel like he wants some work done, and so I will, ask permission and pray about it and make sure I have his permission to do it, and then I will use my own body to process for these people in this book, who are real people, now deceased, and they're not in my family line, and for all I know, their whole family died in the gulag. And so they have nobody that can process for them here. And so I would say every day, but that's not totally true because I don't have a great memory and I often forget to do things every single day. But many days I make it a priority to do emotional work for the deceased that are not necessarily in my family, but that I feel like are placed in my life, like in this book or in other resources that I discover. If I feel like they need a little help, then I will volunteer myself, tune into their energy fields, and basically do a session for them, as I feel prompted. This is important because the deceased are angels, whether or not they are in our family. They can still help us if we need them or if they want to help us. And so I kind of feel like I'm amassing this enormous army of angels that can come and help me if I ever have a big problem. And in this crazy time, many of us may be facing large problems, myself included. We'll just have to see. But I know that with God, anything is possible. And when we have a large army of angels that aren't distracted by their unforgiveness and their other issues, they can come to our aid much more easily. So let's get to work. Okay, here we go. You can go ahead and ask your own body if your own body is prepared to process on behalf of many ancestors of yours, or maybe just one, and see what your body says. The emotional transmutation process, like when you process a releasing emotion, it involves the liver. Okay, it involves just a whole lot of different processes. Like if you cry, you're actually like physically crying out the broken down molecular bonds of these emotions that your body was carrying. Our bodies are carrying the traumas of our ancestors within them. We break them down as we release this, and then we have to flush them out of our bodies. So if your body is not in excellent condition, you might get a feeling like, you should just do one ancestor, and maybe they'll say it's your grandma, or like it's your great aunt or something like that. Or just it's a woman on your father's side and she's dead. Like, I don't, it might be as specific or as vague as whatever you get. It's fine. Or you can see if you can just do for as many ancestors as accept the work at this time. Okay, go ahead and let's just take some deep breaths and shake it out. Okay. Okay, we're going to go into our minds. We're going to invite all of our ancestors to bring forth their tornadoes, okay? And so you can see them stepping forward and carrying their tornadoes to you. And they might be big and they might be tiny. They might have like a bunch of little ones, or a big one and a bunch of little ones, or anything in between. Our job is to be witnesses. We're using the law of witnesses to witness a change. The law of witnesses is, in quantum physics, it's the observer effect. When we observe a thing, we change a thing. And so we're going to use our power as witnesses to witness a change. And that change, you'll feel it. So I'm very excited. Your ancestors will feel it, and they will thank you for that. So, okay, let's tune in. So see all these tornadoes, and the way that you transmute them into forgiveness, from unforgiveness to forgiveness, is you're going to imagine them as their squiggle, and then you're going to take a deep breath, and when you blow out with force, I want you to hear your breath. None of this weak, flimsy breathing, none of that. We want it big and loud enough to dissolve the bonds of that unforgiveness energy and break it apart, break it into a million pieces. And one thing I like to do is see all those pieces turn into butterflies and fly away. And now, instead of cursing the universe with this dark, stagnant, turbulent energy, how can it be stagnant and turbulent at once? But it is, because it's unforgiveness. Isn't that just the essence of unforgiveness? But instead of that, they go out and bless the universe with little fragments of forgiveness and healing. And I just love that image. So go into your mind and just one by one, take your deep breaths and imagine breathing in those tornadoes and breathing out these little fragments and butterflies. Okay. Now, as you're doing this breathing work and imagining those things, I'm just going to run through a list of some things that your ancestors might want to be able to forgive over, because sometimes all of us need a little help to forgive. We want an acknowledgement of what was wrong because we have been wronged, and those feelings are very legitimate. We were wronged. And so a lot of times people need help to forgive, and the help that they need is just a real validation that, yeah, you had a big problem. So words coming into my mind are child abuse. I was neglected. Nobody loved me. Nobody took care of me. I starved to death on the street. My wife cheated on me. The girl that I loved married somebody else. My husband didn't take care of me. My husband beat me. My baby died and I blame my body. I blame myself. I'm seeing images of a bunch of like gruesome deaths, and there's blaming of God, unforgiveness of God, unforgiveness of the environment, unforgiveness of armies, and kind of like street, like just shady characters like thieves, like gangs, robberies, being forced to move against your will, becoming a refugee, war, losing your family, getting lost. Here's a big fear feeling about being lost, being alone, being the sole survivor of catastrophic events, watching other people die. Keep breathing, keep breathing. You the living, keep on breathing it out. Breathe out these tornadoes as they come up. If they're big and they scare you, imagine them shrinking down and breathe them out. You're the witness, so you can change what you see. So change it and breathe it out. Okay? Something else still needs to be done, and I'm not sure what it is, so I'm sorry. Keep breathing while I take a look and see what it is. It says, it feels like crying. It says, I'm so alone, I'm so alone. Why didn't God protect me from all of this? And there's just like this confusion, bitterness, anger, disappointment, disgust, rage, irritation. It feels like a burlap sack on the skin of how could God let there be so much suffering? How can I forgive that? How can I forgive God for all of this suffering that exists in this world? So I yawn when I process things, but what comes up is the word irritation, betrayal, abandonment. God has abandoned me. I'm all alone. Nobody understands me. I feel a rejection of Jesus, who, does understand, but it's like I don't accept that. Can it clear it now? Fear that I am wrong. Fear that I'll be alone forever. Fear that I'm alone because of my own choices. And that, okay, so it says it's a fear that my blaming of God really should have been blaming of myself. And now it can clear. Okay, so go ahead, and I'm getting to tap on your hands. Tapping these different meridians can help just shake up the things in your body that are stagnant. And that's what we want to do, is just shake it all up. So tap, tap, tap on your hands. I'm tapping between these two bones and these two bones, you see. Wiggling in between my fingers, activating everything in there, squeezing tight and letting go. Squeezing tight and letting go, squeezing tight and letting go, shaking it out. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting that is good for this this session. So go ahead and take your deep breaths and imagine yourself growing roots into the center of the earth and out 5 miles in every direction, grounding very solidly. Tell your ancestors, we're done for right now. Now it's time for your body to process this. We all obviously have many, many ancestors. And so it is unlikely that you just cleared out all of the unforgiveness from all of them in the past few minutes. But what you can do is just ask yourself when to do this exercise again, and your body will tell you, maybe not in words, but just trust it. And when the time is right, you'll feel this kind of urge to watch this video again and participate again. Or you can just do this exercise, you know, as you're lying in bed going to sleep. That's what I often do. I have all these little kids and they wake up all night. And when I'm lying in bed and I can't sleep because of all of my kids, you know, then I will do this exercise in my mind. And I've done a lot of good ancestor work that way. So there's lots of options for you, but this is a great time to be working on the behalf of your ancestors so that they are extra prepared to help you. I'm sure you've probably held a grudge before and have had forgiveness issues before, but you know that that can be really draining emotionally, and it can leave you feeling like you don't even have the brain space to handle real life because you're just caught up in the grudge. You are releasing your ancestors from their grudges right now so that they can focus on you, which is their job, right? They need to be helping the living instead of, you know, dealing with the stuff that has been holding them back in the past. We're setting them free and helping them move forward. And this is a gift to them and it's a gift to you. So please take advantage of that gift and do this work for them. It's really important. Okay, that's it for right now. Have a good night.